Welcome to the REI Rookies Podcast, episode number 57, actually, where you followed Jack and Josh on their journey towards financial freedom using the power of real estate. This week, we're going to do something a little different. Josh is out consulting with his hairstylist, and you have Joey Torkildson and Jack Haas on the podcast this week, and we're going to talk a little bit about mindset and what it takes to finally take some action. Joey, do you want to kind of do a quick introduction, elevator pitch of you and your team and what you do?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I really appreciate you having me on the show, man. I think it's going to be fun. And like I was saying, even on the pre-show stuff, you're catching me at a great time because we got a lot of stuff going on right now. And so I am actually, I'm here in the Twin Cities area, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And I have a team of 8 real estate professionals, soon to be team of 12, which is great. But it's also just, as it gets bigger, right? They say more money, more problems, right? There's just a lot going on. Right. I also have a podcast with another friend of mine, Jason Harmon, called The Grind. I invest in real estate myself. So I have that whole side of things, and I do lots of speaking and teaching. So I got 4 hats that I'm wearing, and I tell you what, it's fun, but it's also one of those things where it's just, wow. Sometimes you feel like the world is just like, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on, and how do you handle it? So really talking about mindsets it's perfect for right now because we have a lot of stuff rocking and rolling, a lot of ups and downs happening.
Well, you and I chatted about this before on your podcast, but I really see you and Jason as one of my 5. When I drive into work every morning, you're one of the podcasts I listen to. I mean, it's awesome. It's become a habit as I'm driving in, and I usually gravitate towards something that is mindset driven as I'm coming into work. I mean, it just kind of helps kick off that day.
Oh yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to chat with you about is, and I think we both experience it. We were chatting about the real estate investing group that Josh and I host. And we find it's kind of a habitual situation where we have the same people that come every month, and they're always looking for the next deal, or they're always looking for it's analysis paralysis, right? They're not actually taking any action. And I'm trying to get an understanding of what it's going to take, or what's finally going to sink in to get them over that hump and make them to finally take some sort of action.
Yep. Well, and it's all, isn't it all, you probably run into this a lot, and it's all fear-based, right? I mean, a lot of it is when you say that analysis paralysis, it's really fear-based because, what are they doing, right? They're playing the what if game. I mean, I feel like I play the what if game daily. Like, what if this doesn't happen? What if this? What if this? What if this? And then you go down that downward spiral of you're paralyzed. You're like, you could almost imagine if you run into a bear in the woods, right? I mean, it's that fight or flight of like but a lot of times you're completely frozen and you can't do anything.
Right.
And I think a lot of times with people in that case, in that scenario, because I've run into those people where you're just like, would you quit talking about it already? You know what I mean?
Right. I've tried to even look back at what caused me to take some action. And when you think about, when I look back, I just hit myself you just do the gobsmack. You just can't believe that if I did then what I know now, it would be a completely different world.
Yeah.
But in my situation, that we had Josh and I were on a team at a large corporate environment, and the entire 26 team was really let go. And then you start and then that was what spurred it. Like we were talking about it up until that point for a good year, but it was that big action that impacted 26 of my friends in such a severe way that you start to question whether your corporate job is really that secure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then that's what got me to make the jump. But what I think is a shame is that it took that type of big event for me to take that type of action.
Yes. Yes. It's interesting because sometimes the best things happen from times of extreme struggle, right? I mean, you're laid off, or I got into real estate because I came home from a military deployment. I was unemployed. Mm-hmm. I had a business before then that went under because I was deployed. I literally started a remodeling business back in about 2007. And I hit the 2-year mark, right? And for any business, the 2-3 year mark is kind of like, you made it, you survived. Right. And then I got deployed. So business goes under, like, that's it. Business is over. Like, it's done. I laid all the guys off that I were, see ya, came home completely unemployed. Like, holy shit. Like, now what am I going to do? And next thing you know, so times of struggle, you make these decisions. So I either think sometimes massive struggle will lead you to take some kind of leap of faith, right? Or I look at when I bought, so I own 3 investment properties, and I look at when I bought my second one, it had been a long time since I bought my first one. And my wife and I were talking about it. We've been talking about, we got to get an investment. And finally, the way that I honestly, it's hilarious how I got my second one. I was just sick and tired of talking about it, Jack. Yeah. I don't even know if honestly, I got up the way that it happened. It's actually hilarious. I got up one morning. I get up really early, and I was like, you know what? I'm so sick of this. I can't even take it. I went on the MLS. I literally randomly picked a duplex that looked like, I kind of roughly looked at the numbers, and it made sense. I wrote the offer. I literally wrote the offer and submitted it. I didn't even have a pre-approval letter. I hadn't talked to a bank, whatever. It was that shoot, fire, aim kind of philosophy. Right. And it literally came from just being tired, just being like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just doing this. And you know what, whatever happens, happens. Now it ended up working out. It ended up being an awesome deal. There was lots of negotiations back and forth, we call it the dumpy duplex. Right. And so, but again, that's why times of struggle or times of just being sick and tired of doing it. Now, here's the deal, though. I think you know as well as I know, because I belong to a couple of networking groups myself. Some people just are never going to get past that. They just won't. And I don't necessarily know because think about it. It's really, really, really hard to inspire and motivate unmotivated people, right? Right. Like, I almost think it's mission impossible. If they either have that little teeny spark and you will be able to push them over the edge at some point, or I do think that sometimes the spark just doesn't exist. I do think there's those people out there and they'll just never do it. And that's okay. So you just got to embrace the fact that there's a lot of those people out there. That's how it's going to roll. You know what I mean?
Right. That's a good point. We mentioned it on your podcast. We have kind of a saying that we kind of default to. You can never say the wrong thing to the right person. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. Yeah. It just, there's no convincing. And until they've convinced themselves.
Yes.
It's really, you're just noise.
Right. 100%. And that's why, what's so funny is because on the team, for example, on the real estate team, well, obviously, and we're a very heavy lead generating team in the sense of like, that's our culture we push. Like lead generating, 15 hours a week minimum. Like you got to lead generate. That's the heart of our business, right? And so here's the thing though, right? You can pull someone along and you can try to pull. I think it's just, I'm pulling this person. Come with me, come on. Or you can go, here's the deal. I'm running down the hallway, and the people I want to end up partnering with are the people that instead of me stopping at each office, if you can think of this analogy, I'm running down the hallway of an office, and instead of me stopping at each office and being like, hey, what are you doing? Come with me. Instead of doing that, I want to run, and I want people to be like, hey, where are you going? I want to go there. And then what ends up happening is then you're like a pack of horses, right? Or a pack of wolves where now you're all running together. And so the thing is that sometimes you just have to dive in, bring people on, and they're either going to self-discover. It's the same thing with investment property. It's no different than with investment property or commission-only sales or anything risky, starting a business, you bring a bunch of people on and they will either self-discover, like they're either gonna ignite their own spark and run with you, or they're just gonna be left behind. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, it sounds kind of harsh,
right.
but I've learned that you can't motivate the unmotivated, right? That's a choice. That's their choice. And so, but then here's the funny thing is the people that are on the in-between. See, because you're going to have the people that are like completely unmotivated. They're a hopeless cause. You're probably never going to spark anything. Then you're going to have the people that are completely driven. They're making decisions. They're probably horrible decisions, but they're going to learn from them. They're just going for it. Mm. It's the people that are in between, I think, that you and I are talking about, that like, man, they got it. They got the spark. It's in there.
Yep.
They just literally haven't been like pushed off the ledge yet. You know, those are the tough ones because you see it in them and you go like, God, I see that you can do this.
Right.
And it's frustrating, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. And what I also think is interesting on my side is that when I think you kind of say, I find myself being fairly repetitive, saying a lot of the same stuff month after month or on the podcast on a weekly basis. But I'm absolutely convinced that the way you're saying it, there's if I tweak it in some way each different time, maybe that is enough to fan that flame you're talking about, that spark. Maybe it's just they get it, but it isn't enough for them to take that action I'm talking about.
Well, you know, and there's been moments even in my career in life that all it took was somebody saying one sentence. You know, when we talk about perspective on the perspective show, you and I were talking about a pre-show. Sometimes my wife will just say like she'll say like one sentence.
Right.
And it's the most elementary sentence. It might not even be this like crazy awesome quote. It's just like a blah, blah, blah. And you go like, yes, something happened in the mind where you're just like, oh my gosh, like there it is. I had blinders on, and then all of a sudden somebody says one thing and you're like, that's it. Duh. You know, so that's where that perspective really comes in. So what you're doing I think is a great thing. I mean, dude, Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar, you know what's so funny is I think it was Jim Rohn, was big, you know, on the motivational speaking and whatever. He gave the same speech for like 30 years. Like, I mean, you know, he actually came out and said that, like, I literally gave the exact same speech for 30 years straight. Yeah, maybe little nuances and little tweaks here, but there was nothing different. It was still the same message.
Right.
I mean, like in the investing world, what you're talking about, guess what? It's still the same message. You just have to write a bunch of offers, right? I mean,
right.
Just write an offer. Just write a stinking offer, and it's almost like it breaks the seal. Like, you just got to do it. Whether it gets rejected, accepted, or laughed at, it doesn't even matter. Just write it. It's almost like the action of doing it.
Right.
Is enough sometimes to just be like, you know what, I can do this. You know, and then next thing you know, they're buying their second, and they're buying their third because they're realizing, okay, I can do this. You know, it's giving people the confidence somehow to realize, like, I can do this.
You know, and I also find that it's really cool that once you are open up to the possibilities that there's something there and I need to take some action on it. You know, I always go to Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's one of the books that kind of got the ball rolling. And one of the first books that I read back to back. I read it once and I was like, oh, wait a second here. And I went back and read it a second time again. And I've had since then, 2 other books that I did the same thing too. But up until that point, when you're open to those ideas and you finally decide that there's something there and you're going to take action, everything else starts to come into focus. And you start hearing, you know, you said your wife said one sentence and it was like so elementary, and why didn't I think of that? You become open to those.
Yes.
Up until then, I probably would have just blown that off. Like I wouldn't have even noticed it. It would have been a passing comment. But like you said, now it takes you, it stops me. It gives me pause to like, okay, there was definitely something there and I need to take that in.
Well, and you know, what's funny is that a lot of those opportunities and moments, what's really hilarious, like if you get really good at this, and it's hard, man, because like I said, people have a tendency to come from fear, right? I mean, they're obviously, that's what's stopping them. Or when they're in it, they're so scared that it becomes paralyzing. And then what ends up happening, I think, when you're in there, and dude, I get in there all the time. Like I'm there. I get there where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what am I even doing? Like, there are moments all this freaking time where I stop and I go, what am I doing? Like, what in the hell happened? Where I'm so deep down the rabbit hole of like, whatever. And fear stops me right in my tracks. Right. And then I start getting, frazzled and frustrated and da-da-da. And then you know what's happening when I'm in that mode is all these opportunities dissipate and they're gone, right? I mean, because I'm not seeing them. Because I'm so scared about the moment I'm in. And the reason why I said you're catching me at a good time is because literally like this morning, like there's some stuff happening with the team and whatever. And I'm looking at numbers and I'm going like, God dang it, we aren't where we need to be. And all of a sudden I start getting scared. I start getting nervous. Like, oh my gosh, like is the business, then your mind starts running with you. Is the business going to go under? What if this keeps going on? And no. And next thing you know, it makes it so you're not seeing all these different awesome things. That's like, oh, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity. There's a person you should partner with. There's an investment property you should buy.
Right.
Because you're too freaking scared and nervous, and that will cloud your judgment. You know what I mean? And so, and boy, it's hard. And you know what it is? It's a journey, though. I think it's just everybody's journey is different. That's why there's some people that they don't get started in the investment world until they're like 60 years old. Because they just weren't ready. They probably had opportunities. And then there's some people that do it when they're 20. And it's like, whoa, somebody slapped them upside the head. And next thing you know, they're 35 years old and retiring. But and what's hilarious about that is you think when you see those people, you're like, oh, they got it pretty easy. It's like, really? No, they didn't. Because 10 years ago, they were scared as hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What kind of activities or what process do you go through to face that fear? Like,
well, it's action, right? I mean, action will get you out of. So you know what? Actually, a guy that I'm partnered with said that he gave me this advice a long time ago, and he said, listen, if you're in a mode of like, just you're paralyzed, you're like, oh my gosh, you're like, you can imagine yourself like, okay, if you're on I can bring up being on a real estate team, but you're on a real estate team, you're lead generating, and you're just like, you're just in a slump. No one's saying yes. You're getting 1,000 no's. Everybody's flicking you off, being crabby, and you're just like, oh, And I've been in those moments where I'm like, it's like the walls of my office are caving in, right? He said, and basically what he said is you have to basically pivot and take a completely different action. It needs to be an action because it's going to shift your mindset out. And so one of the things he brought up, which is a kind of a random, I think, amazing thing, is he says, when you find yourself in that mode, go give something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And you kind of wonder like, wait, what the hell? Well, think about it. You're in this mode of like despair and I can't get anything going and everybody's saying no. He's basically saying, go give. It doesn't matter. Go get out of where you are and go buy someone coffee randomly or go buy someone's groceries or whatever it even looks like. Because what's going to happen is it's just something in your mind. It's shifting the vibration or shifting just the mindset of like, the opposite of the funk, because the funk is like, I need all this stuff. It's like, but then the opposite of that is like, well, I'm just going to go give,
right?
And I tell you what, every time I've done it and I still do it. And I actually recommend a lot of team members to do it, is you're taking some kind of action opposite of what you're doing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, I mean, giving is one tactic, but like you might be, okay, for example, you might be just jamming the phones and you're just getting rocked and it sucks. guess what? Just, if it happens to be a nice day, get the hell out of there. Go chill out, go for a walk, have lunch, and then go do a different action, like rap on some doors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna go door knock on 5 doors, or I'm gonna go call 5 friends that I know aren't gonna be crabby. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
It's just taking a completely. That's why I call it pivoting. You're just like, you know, and it's like I can't even go down this path right now because I'm in a deep funk of it. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's a great tactic.
Yeah.
I found that one of the things that's been working for me lately too is when I do feel that fear, I'll actually face it head on and actually say, okay, this is ridiculous. What's the worst thing that could happen? And then kind of go through that process, that mental gymnastics to like actually go down that rabbit hole. And then you start to go, well, this is just stupid.
Oh,
the,
100%.
The likelihood of it happening for one is pretty low.
Right.
And then it just makes you face the irrational.
Well, and you know what, when you say face it too, you know, what's really interesting is just this morning, I was talking to my wife about transparency, and we had Mike Robbins on the show, Bring Your Whole Self to Work, which is awesome.
That Facebook Live was great, by the way.
Yeah. And you know, what's hilarious is that he calls it HR honest. If you remember, we were talking about HR honest. I'm HR honest a lot. HR honest is, you're being honest, right? Like, so for example, like, you know, I might let the team know, here's where we're at. Our numbers are good, bad, they suck, whatever. Well, that's HR honest. I'm being honest. But do they know, this is just an example, do they know deep down inside, I'm scared? See what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's transparent. So you got he calls it that what the hell is it? Authenticity continuum, right? Phony, honest, and then authentic. So when you're talking about facing your fears head on, that's being authentic. Because whatever that looks like, it's gonna expose you. Hey, I'm gonna face this head on. I'm gonna call that crabby client. That client is so pissed at me, I'm gonna call them. Or let's say you got an investment deal going on that's going completely horrible, right? I'm gonna call that seller, and I'm just, you know what? Here we go. We're gonna do this dance. I'm gonna let it all out. It's gonna there's gonna be swear words, there's gonna be crying, there's gonna be this or that, but I'm gonna let it all out. And guess what? When the dust settles, and that's why when we talked about it with Mike on the show, when the dust settles, then now you got somewhere.
Right. Well, I just had that experience just last night. I have been fighting with a vendor that handles some of our transactions, and because of it, it's delayed something for one of our customers. And I've been mostly communicating with them through Facebook Messenger, which I also find fascinating. That, I mean, we have all these different modes of communication these days, and they opt to communicate that way. But in the end, I was just like, screw it. I grabbed the paper and I just drove over there. You know.
Exactly.
And in the end, you know, they were just happy to see you. You know, they just want to know what's going on, and it ended up being a great few minutes with them. You know, so the fear, your perceived fear is it never is equivalent to what the actuality, what's really going on.
Well, no, and think about it. That's why when people are really nervous, and I've been there where I'm just extremely nervous. And actually, Mike talked about it on the show. Again, he said, you know, he was talking about that where he's in a very high-powered meeting. You know, he's in this super, super high-powered meeting, and he's nervous, and he's trying to do a pitch, and he stops the pitch, and he says, hey, guys, you know what? Screw it. Can I just be completely real with you? Just him saying that sentence brought the wall down. Like, listen, I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling like I'm screwing this up. Can I just be completely real with you? And they're like, yes. And you're like, please, like, we know you're nervous. We know you're screwing this up. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Is that no different, right? Than interacting with when you're doing real estate deals. I mean, holy smokes. It's like, you know, it'd be no different than me trying to have a conversation with a seller, for example, if I'm representing a seller, trying to get them to drop their price. Right? I mean, that's such a weird conversation. And there's all these things you can do to kind of when really all you need to do is be like, hey, can I be completely honest with you guys? Do you give me permission to be completely honest with you guys?
Right.
Yes, we do, Joey. Please be honest with us. Sounds good. You're super overpriced. You need to drop it 20 grand.
Yeah.
And guess what? They might freak out.
Right.
And be like, rah, rah, rah. Be like, hey, guess what? You wanted me to be honest. Whether you decide to listen or not, that's up to you. I'm just being completely honest with you. You know, and it's like, we don't see that enough, Jack. Like, we need to see that more. And that was kind of Mike's, you know, when he says bring your whole self to work, we need to see a lot more of that.
You know, his conversation really rang true to me. You know, and I still hold it dear memories regarding a team that I was on at the same corporation as a vendor. We had a team that we worked with partners, and that team was very transparent. And we always commented about how this is such a great team. We hate to see it ever disband. We're firing on all cylinders. We were just rock stars, all of us. And after listening to him on Facebook Live the other day, I realized that it was that situation where we were very transparent.
Yep.
We were watching out for each other, looking, you know, covering each other's back. If somebody needed some help, I mean, there was always somebody else to step in. It was just an ideal scenario, and it became a very close knit. Don't worry about it. We got it.
Yeah. And that's that transparency, man. I mean, and I think groups of people, whether it's a team at work or whether it's a group of people investing, obviously that happens a lot. I mean, how else are you going to buy a $2 million apartment building? Right. You're going to buy a $2 million apartment building. Guess what? Most likely, unless you're extremely wealthy, you won the lottery, you're going to be partnering with 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 people.
Right.
Because you're going to try to come up with $500,000 or whatever. Right. So it's like, guess what? Don't be holding anything back. Be transparent, because the ones that actually, I'm sure the investment groups that fall apart are because there was 2 or 3 people that they weren't honest. They weren't actually, no, see, they might've been HR honest. They weren't completely transparent with what was actually happening. And of course it's going to fail, you know, because if that doesn't exist, HR honest doesn't work, because then people's feelings are not actually out. Right. They're not actually out in the open, like completely bare-chested, exposed, you know, and that's where the true magic, I think that's where the true magic happens. That's why when you run into somebody and actually we lightly talked about it on the show, but if you ever have a conversation with someone where tears are involved. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's where the true magic happens, right? Because people are exposed and they're like, I'm letting this out and it's happening and it's awkward, but it's happening. Yeah. Yeah. It's awkward, but you always come out with a better relationship and typically a better team environment. Yeah, definitely. Can't say enough about that. Let's close this out. Yeah. I really appreciate the time that you've given me here, but I was hoping that you could end with a couple of rapid fire things for me. Let's wrap. I love that. Let's do it. Favorite book? Traveler's Gift. You know, I knew you were going to say that. I love that book. That's another one that I read twice. Oh, everybody and on the show, anybody listening to your show right now, stop and go get the damn audio book, because Andy Andrews is phenomenal with that. Yeah. No, I just love that. And I've been reading The Alchemist lately. Oh, yes. That's also a great book. Yes. Tell me about, since you're in real estate investing, your worst deal. You know what? I don't know. Time will tell, but I might be in it. And you know, there's one. Time will tell, but there's one right now happening where we bought it, and there's a lot more work than we thought. I'm sure you guys have been there. We've been there. So right now it's kind of happening. The other deals are good and they're running and they're awesome. Right now we're kind of in like, okay. So, you know, but again, even with that, time is your best partner there, right? Just hang in there. Right. And you'll get through it. But yeah, I might be going through it. Your favorite band?
We're going to jump around a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a huge, well, if you can see, the people listening can't see this, but right here you can see a little Beatles
Sure.
there. I'm a big Beatles fan, but I'm a huge Collective Soul fan.
Oh, really?
And that's, that was my very first CD was Collective Soul back in like 91, 92. It was my very first CD. I bought a radio with a CD player, and that was my first CD. So I love those guys.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Joey. You, like I said, I appreciate the podcast.
Yes.
Where can people find you and follow you? And why don't you let them know your social?
Yeah, you know what? So anybody that's listening right now that wants to friend request me, I love talking to fellow investors. Anybody that listens to the show, check out the Grind podcast. You can find that Google Play, Stitcher, and iTunes, and check that out for sure. And on social media, Joey Torkildson. Hopefully in you guys' show notes, you can probably put a couple links in there as well.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Yeah, yep, absolutely, brother.
So remember, get off the bench and into the game. Thanks a lot, Joey, and we'll see you next time.